Hello and welcome everyone in another episode of Researcher Celebrity. Today we have Dr. Mahul Chakraborty with us as our Researcher Celebrity. So a brief about Dr. Mahul. He has done his bachelor's from University of Calcutta in zoology, and then for master's he moved to IIT Roorkee and did his master's in biotechnology. For PhD he moved to USA at University of Rochester, New York, did a brief postdoc at UC Irvine, and presently he's an assistant professor at Texas A&M University in Department of Biology. With this brief introduction, welcome Dr. Mahul at the platform, and thank you for taking time out.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. I'm really glad to be here.
Yes, great. So we always start our conversation with how and when you decided that you will become a researcher.
It's hard to say exact time when I decided. It was a more organic decision. I was curious, I would say starting from my college. I was really intrigued by the genetics problems, and I really wanted to learn more on that. And our college professor suggested that that I could, if I really liked this, I could pursue master's and then PhD. And that's when I really decided that I wanted to, go on to become a researcher. And another way, when I was in high school in class 2, I knew that I didn't want to become an engineer or doctor. Well, didn't want to become an engineer because engineering didn't interest me. I didn't want to become a doctor because I was scared of blood. So that's why I didn't really take any of the selection exams after class 2. Straight went for a bachelor's degree.
Mm-hmm. Nice. So it was mostly problem-driven enthusiasm, that inquisitiveness of a researcher. This is what appeals me more.
Yes. So I was what I found really interesting, and I think this was started from class 2, is that math, biology, and chemistry. These I really liked. I enjoyed this, and I wanted to pursue something where math and biology both are involved, and genetics was one of these topics. And I really enjoyed learning about classical genetics problems where you involve probability statistics and then population genetics. These things really intrigued me, and then the specialization in genetics, particularly evolutionary genetics, that really interested me. So during a master's, I wanted to learn more in evolutionary biology, because in India there are not many labs which are studying evolution, and I got a chance to spend a summer in Amitabh Joshi's lab in JNCSR, and that really ignited my passion for evolutionary genetics, and I decided that I wanted to do my PhD in this particular topic or particular area of research and nothing else.
Nice. So once the decision has been made that you want to do a PhD, second step is you get in there.
Yeah.
Why United States? Why not India?
For me, the decision was really, really easy, because I did ask Dr. Joshi, because he was one of the probably like 2 or 3 people at that time, where I should do my PhD. And I had a CSIRF, and I got an interview for the SPM, and I was waiting to go for interview, and he said that I think if you want to really learn about cutting edge evolution genetics, you should go to a lab in US, because that's where more funding is available for evolution genetics research, and where more evolution genetics are working there. Mm-hmm. And that made things easy for me. So he'll help me navigate that decision.
Mm-hmm. So when Professor Amitabh said that, okay, I'm suggesting you this to USA, and one of the important things, then you have to move continents and leave family there.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was tough, but I was, I'd say there are a couple of things that helped me. One is living in hostel life for 2 years prepped me a little bit to stay away from the family. And the second thing was I went to Germany for a couple of weeks, or I'd say like around 3 weeks before I moved to US. And that helped me a little bit. It gave me exposure to the Western life a little bit. It wasn't a lot. I didn't really live in Germany, but it at least showed me what things are. Because I didn't really come from a city. I came from suburbs. So that exposure helped me out, like what kind of things I can expect. And the other thing was there were people already in Rochester, the couple of people who were from the university where I did my bachelor's, and they helped me transition. I mean, it was difficult, but it did help to have friends there.
Yeah, and here I would like to take time for all the audience and viewers here, that whenever you're planning to move out of India, first thing which you should start looking for is networking, that how many people are there, because apart from looking for places for you or helping you with getting all those necessary things, the most important thing is they are there to acquaint you with the new place, okay, which might be very helpful for your peace of mind. The second thing is you feel that you belong to that place instead of getting into a new pool of students or people who you have never met. Then these are the things which are the struggles of a researcher, which is not so evident in their life, and not many people talk about them so openly. So
yeah, absolutely. I think I mean you have to have an open mind, like that. I will make new friends, and there will be obstacles, but I will like you said, the network, my friends or my colleagues to overcome those obstacles. Because when you are away from your country, from your culture, there will be new situations that you have to become eventually accustomed to, and it really helps to have friends or colleagues who understand your situation and can help.
Yeah, absolutely. So now once you came for your PhD program, get enrolled, settled, how that journey went?
PhD was is a rocky surface.
It is.
It has ups and downs. I think, except maybe like very, 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 very few, most PhD students, if you ask them, they would say that it wasn't a straight line, right? Because it can be partly because your experiments didn't work many times. Could be your relationship with your mentor wasn't always, at the best terms, or maybe there's something else that's outside your life, outside your professional life, outside your lab, that affected your research work or your professional life. So all these things contribute, and again, like when you are away from the place you are very familiar with, where you grew up, or people it's tough. So you're adjusting with a new place, new system, and a very new professional life. Right? You're trying to figure out how experiments can work, and you have to learn new things. But you also have to learn new things outside your lab. Like like for example, I didn't know driving, so I had to learn how to drive. There was no public transport, not good public transport in Rochester. So it's but there were people who helped me learn driving. But then sometimes when experiments didn't work, I talked to friends, and they helped overcome those stresses. So yeah, so there were stresses, there were failures and problems, but like I said, it helps to have friends. Yes. They are your families away from your family.
Absolutely. So now let's get to the serious business of PhD.
Yeah.
Where stress, failure, problems is part for almost every researcher.
Right.
There are few who might have little less,
Mm-hmm.
but most of them are like majority of the PhD or research is about this.
Right.
So starting from your PhD
Mm-hmm.
duration
Yeah.
to getting to the position assistant professor, now
Yeah.
you are having your PhD students.
Right.
The key points of the struggle which helped you
Yeah.
in becoming this.
One thing that I learned over time, and this is not just during PhD but also during postdoc, is that we have a tendency to, when you are stuck with a difficult situation, our mind has a tendency to think that this is the end of the world, that we are stuck here and there is no solution. But most of the time, if not all the times, there is a way out, there is a solution. It may not be a very quick solution, but you have to persist. That's the main thing. That even when you are extremely low, you have to tell yourself that, well, things will get better.
Mm-hmm.
And it does, because time helps. And this may I mean, so that's what I try to do even when I'm an assistant professor. I don't try when I'm interacting with PhD students, and when this is honestly going back in the back of my mind, is that they need time even when they're having difficult situation. I mean, despite all the help, the most critical thing is that you should let them feel that there's nothing, they're not in a hurry,
Mm-hmm.
right? That and it helps in all kinds of situations. Like let's say you're doing an experiment and it's stuck, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not getting a result. You have to convince them that this is not a quick thing. It's not. Even if it takes time, we're not expecting a very fast result coming out of this. Even if it takes time, it's totally okay, and
Mm-hmm.
you will be supported. And this is just an experiment, but like if someone needs a leave, for
Mm-hmm.
example, often many people think that vacations and leaves are unimportant, and people should spend time more in the lab. You forget
Mm-hmm.
about time offs.
Yeah.
And I think this shouldn't be the case.
Yeah.
You need a break. Your brain. Anyone who is working research, it's a high focus profession. So you need your attention. You need your focus, and doing that continuously, facing failure, facing different types of stresses. Like you have to submit your proposal, you have to submit your paper, you have to submit that, you have to create classes. All these things takes a toll on your mind, and you do need breaks. So that's another thing. Again, it fits into this the paradigm that I was talking about. That like time is important. That you have to let them feel that you have time. So, and having breaks fit into that, because you might feel that, well, if I take a break, it's going to prolong my time, but not really. Like if you take some time off, you come back with a refreshed mind, and it actually might, paradoxically, might help you think, finish something quicker than if you didn't take the break.
Absolutely. And this is one of the most important points which we always discuss when it is about stress, when it is about taking vacations. So it is good to decide that when you need that vacation, A, that will rejuvenate you, B, you will be thinking out of your box, C, when you are in nature, if that helps you, or different people go different ways. So you are doing the thing which you like the most. And now that might give you that an extra version or the thought which is required to solve your problem. As Dr. Mahul correctly said, that don't think that taking time out is stopping you for achieving your timeline. It might be actually opposite of it. It might help you more. Let's say a scenario where you are supposed to do an experiment in 2 days, didn't work out. Then you repeat it 5 times, so it is 10 days already, and still it is not working out because you are not able to think that why it is not working. Just after 1 or 2 failure, when you take a day break, You go out, do whatever makes you happy, comes back with a fresh mind, and then it might work. So what you have not achieved in 10 days, you have achieved in 5 days. So they actually helped an entire week of yours. This is very important because burnout are a real thing for every researcher. And it is not only for PhD student or for professor, even emeritus, they do get burnout. So if you think that you are the only one who is facing this, don't worry, we all are there. We have our own share of burnouts and everyone has their own way to get over it. So talking about the perseverance, when you talk to a student who is facing a problem, so for us, because we have walked that path, it is easy to say, yeah, it is just time taking, it will help, it will go over, you will get your results.
Yeah.
How difficult it is to make them understand this point?
So what I do is, at least for PhD students, is I keep, or I ask them to have at least 2 problems in hand. So this is the trick that I found useful during grad school, is when one problem doesn't work out, or isn't giving you lots of headaches, and you are really tired of thinking about it, you don't find a solution, and you correctly said, like, when you tell someone that don't spend time on it, do this or do that and then get back to it, it's easy for us to say, but the person on the other hand, they might be in a desperate situation. They want it to work immediately. So this is why I have another problem in hand. So what I usually tell them is that, why don't you work on the other problem, give it a rest for a few days, work on the other problem, because this is also important. We want to find out what this is. And usually, so far, it seems to have worked. And in a couple of days, what I found is that the original experiment or original project that the student was working on, they come back and said, well, now I feel that I can do another experiment to address that problem while I was working on project 2. Okay, that's good. Like, yeah, I mean, now you can go back to your problem now that it seems like you have gotten over that, that obstacle in your mind, that stress point, and so you are able to detach yourself from there. Now you can go back and try to solve it or address that problem. Because there are often, I mean, this is why PhDs are often like 5 years or more, is you try to address a problem that no one has solved it before. And when you are going into this uncharted territory, you will face things that are either unsolvable or difficult to solve, and that's why people haven't done this before, right?
Yes, absolutely. And this is exactly why we say that every PhD is unique.
Yeah, and then you have to give credit. Like the students should feel confident, because they should give themselves credit for this.
Yes.
That I'm pursuing a project, or I'm pursuing a problem that no one has done this before. Even whatever, I mean, maybe some people feel that, well, this may not be a very significant problem, but that doesn't really matter. I mean, most problems are important to one group of people, but may not be important to another group of people.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
No, and this is one thing which Empowering Science Foundation believes in, breaking the barriers.
Right.
One of the barrier is not many people think of researchers as celebrities.
Right.
So we started this researcher celebrity by saying, okay, let's celebrate research.
Right.
And every single researcher,
Yeah.
being it a PhD student or anyone, they are doing something so significant, if not for everyone's life in real immediate, but in longer run.
Yeah.
Every single PCR which a molecular biologist has set up has helped humanity. That's what we believe in.
Absolutely. I think this is a crucial point that we often miss, and unfortunately, like most of the awards and fellowships, they tend to overlook this.
Yes.
For example, the CRISPR Nobel Prize. It's not just work of Jennifer Doudna. and there were other people involved in it.
Yes.
Of course, she was one of the leaders who was driving the project, but there have been a series of war before
Yes.
that came to that point.
Cool.
So it's not like the person who's getting award or getting recognized is the only person who should be celebrated.
Yes.
And like you said, like they're researcher, and their no work is insignificant.
Yes.
Even a single PCR can, or a single jail even can, contribute hugely to our understanding of fundamental processes, or may bring new therapies.
Absolutely, and rightly said. So, the professor from a small town in Europe who came to know about CRISPR has done this research, published in there, and then nothing happened. Till everybody now wants to do CRISPR because of the patent, because of the potential use, but that fundamental work was done there decades before. And that's what we always try to say, that don't underestimate your research, don't underestimate yourself. And this is in all true sense for all the students, either your master's or doing PhD or postdoctoral anywhere. Whatever research you are doing, the only thing which you should be knowing is what you are doing. If you know what you are doing, rest everything becomes significant after that.
Yeah, there should be some clarity when you are doing PhD. PhD is unlike many other profession. You are training, and it's not just training in how you can carry out experiments. It's a training in a lot of things, which also includes writing. Most of the time, when you come into a PhD program, you may not have experience of very organized way of writing or reporting your results, communicating your results to the outer world. And PhD trains you for that. And this is important in everywhere you go after you finish your PhD, whether you are in academia, whether you go to industry, whether you take a policy job in government. Everywhere you go, writing it will stay with you for the rest of your life. You have to write maybe proposal, you have to write protocols, you have to write public facing documents and all kinds of things, and this prepares you for that. And then the same line, I'd say presentation skills. It also helps you improve your presentation skills. And why is presentation important? I mean, there are probably, I'm not going to go into the details of it, and PhD also prepares you for that. So yeah, it's a total training in I'd say life training in if I may, and so you have to have clarity of thought, like what you are doing and why you are doing it. You need to have the passion, not like the passion doesn't have to be that I'm going to solve the biggest problem of humanity, but the passion of maybe a detective, like I have this problem, and I feel that this is important, and I want to see what it is.
Absolutely. No, and indeed what you said is correct in all the senses, that PhD is training for life. It trains you for life, and once you have done through those crucial years of your life, it can be anywhere from 2 to 5, 6, 7, depends how it went. But it trains you for not only for research but for lifetime, because you get to learn so many things, and time management is one of the most crucial part. When you are working for publication of a paper or submitting to just a grant, so it prepares you to start prioritizing the work towards it, and then achieve it.
Right.
In simple phases.
Yeah. Time management, I think is another thing that I think is super important. Few students have, or few of us. I wasn't good with time management, and PhD helped me recognize that and help me, solve that problem. That time management is super important in every sphere of our life, and PhD helps you that. I mean, if a student hasn't figured out how to manage their time appropriately during PhD, then it'll be problematic in wherever they go in professional life.
True.
In industry, everything, like, they value time even more than academic. So anywhere you go, time will be of essence, like how you partition your life. And as you progress, not only professional, like as you progress through your life, you have to partition your time between your personal life and professional life. How you do that, how you budget your time. All this training, I think, you touch upon this, that the time management comes, get a good training in time management from THT.
Yeah, so now you just touched on personal and professional life, so let's talk about work-life balance of a researcher. What you have experienced and what are the stories you want to share and motivate people?
I think my take-home message would be that you can listen to what others are saying about work-life balance, but it's very, very subjective. What works for another person, what worked for me, may not work for you. And you should keep that in mind. For example, if I am a super ambitious person, if my goal was to, let's say, win the Nobel Prize, maybe I will have to spend. And this is a theoretical conversation. I'm not saying that one should do that. But let's say that I'll have to spend 12 hours in the lab. And I have a daughter. She's 2 years old. But if I do that, then I will miss the time that I can spend with her. Now, again, some might prefer to, or they are good at it. In other words, they're probably good at spending time or budgeting time between lab and personal life, that they can do both very efficiently. I am not that good, so my priority is always my family. So I like spending my time with my daughter, and sometimes I will postpone a meeting or an experiment if my daughter is sick or if my daughter needs me. Now, that may not be what everyone would like to do. Maybe you may have a different solution than I have. But I think work-life balance is a very personal thing. It's very subjective, and it will depend on, I think, the person. I think it varies person to person. What gives someone motivation to push forward may not be same for everyone.
And often when we talk about these topics, it is so individualistic that everyone has their own priorities. What is priority for you? And they keep on changing. So as Dr. Mahul just mentioned about taking time for family, but when it comes to submissions of meeting deadlines, you might do
exactly.
vice versa.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I learned it from one of the professors in my previous institute, and he is extremely smart, successful. People from all over the world knows about him. But of course, he is a senior professor, and he has the luxury to choose. But what I've seen is that he doesn't go to all the meetings. He limits his. He chooses where he wants to go for conferences. He has kept his lab size relatively small, so that he can spend time with his children. And his children are not very young. They are in high school, and so that's his choice. He made that decision, and not everyone. There are other people that I've seen in the same department who are not like that. So again, like I said, it varies person to person. It depends how much, what do you want to do and how much.
Absolutely. So speaking of how much you want to do and how will you reach there. So now Dr. Mahul getting the faculty position. One target achieved. more to go. How in life of researcher,
Yeah.
these different milestones, starting from getting award of the degree,
Yeah.
the graduation day,
Mhm.
to getting a first faculty position, intermediate postdocs, if you can share the journey and tell our researchers
Yeah.
that what they should always look forward.
I think you should have a goal in life, but that goal doesn't have to be written in stone. It's mainly for your own drive. That I want to do this in life. Okay, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. For example, it could be I want to have have a good life. Maybe like I want to be a good researcher where I also have a good life. Now that's a goal, and there are different ways you can reach that goal. Your goal can also be different. I mean, you can be I want to become a scientist whose name is on every top newspapers in the world. That can also be your goal, and there are again ways to do that. So I think it's important to have a goal, even if it's not super concrete, even if it's not like super specific. You need to have a goal and work towards that. And during that journey, you have to know that there will be failures. There will be failures, there will be obstacles. But I think there is a saying, right, that when you want something, the universe conspires to make it happen. And that is, I think, to some extent true. When you really want something, even if there are hiccups, even if there are obstacles, there are problems, you will reach somewhere close. If not that, somewhere close to that. And I cite a little story, or I would say a story, an anecdote that my a college professor told me, that when when your goal is to climb Mount Everest, you can at least, even if you don't really get to the top of Mount Everest, you can climb a decently high mountain. If your goal is to, just go to some, plateau, like some little hill next to your home, then you probably won't reach to a high mountain. So that's the thing. Like, if you have a goal, you will get close to that. If not there might be difficulties, problems in a way. But at the end of the day, wherever you reach, don't think, even if it's not super close to where you wanted to go, if you are happy, then you should think that that's a success. Like, you have achieved what you wanted to achieve.
Absolutely. And this is how most of the people should start describing successes. So if what you are doing is making you happy, that is success in its way.
Yes.
Success cannot be measured by any other parameter.
Yeah.
Apart from your happiness.
Right. I think this is absolutely, I think this is super, super important, that no award, nothing, these are all temporary. No award, nothing, no such recognition can help you as much as your own happiness can. I mean, if you're happy, then yeah.
You are successful.
You're successful.
So speaking for researchers,
yeah,
people are always say this thing that publication is the currency in research.
Right.
That's what makes them happy.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it?
I think my opinion would be is not in the majority. I think publication gives you temporary happiness, because I have published in top journals. I thought that's what, because I mean that's what I follow. Like publishing those would make me very happy and will keep me happy. But they're all short-lived. It gives you, it adds actually, counterintuitively, it adds more stress, because when you publish in in important big journals, people expect that you continue to do that. Yeah. And that is stressful. Now, again, some people might enjoy that. They may not be stressful for them, but for others like me, it is stressful. So again, so like I said, it's yes, it's a currency. Now it's judged as a currency. It's not, I wouldn't say it's an absolute truth that that's a currency. It's judged as a currency. But I think, I mean, do what makes you happy. I mean, if you feel like publishing in good journals consistently, good peer-reviewed society journals will make you happy, do it. Then don't worry about the others.
So let's hear an assistant professor.
Yeah.
When you are getting applications
Right.
for, conducting research in your lab at different levels.
Yeah.
So for a PhD student, it will be different. For a postdoctoral, for research scientist, how you will grade them without publications?
I usually talk to them. And I mean, publications, for example, I mean, if someone is applying, I tell you both sides of the story. So I have seen students who have publication on their CV, and these are students who are applying for PhD. And I asked them about topics from their paper. They couldn't explain what it was. But on the other hand, I have interacted with a student who has not published any paper, but they're super enthusiastic, super passionate. They're talking about science. So I think, for me at least, I feel having a conversation helps me to know about someone. So this is a PhD student. So postdocs, of course, I mean, if you have no paper, if you haven't published a paper, and if you're, so what I do is, in that case, is I ask their mentor is if there are any paper in the pipeline. If there is no paper in the pipeline, then that's I would say that's not a very good sign if someone wants to do a postdoc. Now it could be that they are a brilliant scientist. They were just in a bad lab. But as a faculty, it becomes hard for me to judge whether they will, do well, because it's their career, and my goal is to help their career.
Absolutely.
Now, if they haven't published a paper, especially as a leading author, it becomes difficult to make that judgment whether they will be able to do it. I mean, it doesn't have to be a Nature Science paper. It can be any paper.
Yes.
That you have published, you have written this thing, you have done this experiment, you have done this work, and this is now in this journal as a paper. Or even if it's a preprint, it's in bioarchive, and people can go and see, well, this person has written this paper, this is their story. I think, so this is again, like for PhD and postdoc, these things are slightly different. I don't know, maybe when I become more senior, maybe my viewpoint will change, and I will become better at judging who can be successful as a postdoc without papers. But right now, I haven't reached that state yet.
Now, that is very important, and here I would like to tell all the audience and viewers that being a researcher, there are a number of days, weeks, years, you are doing something, and if you cannot communicate it, you might be able to publish it, because in publication you don't have to, interact. The most important thing, which is a very crucial point for all the researchers, is like communication. And we had different backgrounds, fields about that, how researchers are not known to be one of the best communicators. But now this is the time where we should change it. And at this platform, this is what we do. We bring researchers from different stages of their life, starting from master student to emeritus, and hear their points of view. Today, we heard Dr. Mahul at our platform. And now, when we are walking towards the edge of the conversation, last question for you, Dr. Mahul, if you have to describe life of your research till now in one sentence, what it will be?
Understanding mutations or genes that drive adaptations or adaptive evolutions.
Sweet.
That's the research that I'm doing.
Nice. So with this, we will say thanks to Dr. Mahul. And now you all viewers can write it to him if you want specific questions or guidance.
Absolutely.
You can see he's a brilliant communicator plus researcher. Okay, so he's good in communications too. Now you have seen it. And I hope all the researchers in the world enjoy what they are doing. If not, then probably start looking somewhere else.
Yeah.
But if this makes you happy, trust me, speaking for myself, nothing can make you more happier than your passion and doing whatever makes you happy.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And if you ever feel something is not happy, take a step back, change, do whatever. You can always change. You shouldn't stay on a path if you're making that making you unhappy.
Yes. Thank you very much,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Mahul, for your time. And everyone else, stay tuned, enjoy your research, and keep following your passion. Thank you very much.